As some of you know, we've been following Walton Lee's journey addressing pollution at the Puringa stream. Our director has approached this issue from a political perspective. In this interview, Arthur talks to Bill Bayfield, CEO of the Bay of Plenty Regional Council, and the Minister for Environment, the Honourable Nick Smith, about their regulatory policy on pollution.
Well, thank you, Bill Bayfield, for coming in, for your time. You're CEO for the Bay of Plenty Regional Council, or what sometimes is referred to as Environment Bay of Plenty. Can you tell us what your responsibility and what region that covers?
Big region, from basically Waihi Beach right out to pretty much East Cape. And then Regional Council's boundaries are all done on the way water flows, the way water drains. So we come from that coastline all the way back up to the ridge, whether it be the Kaimais or whether it be right through to the Rotorua Lakes catchments and right through to where the Rotorua catchments butt up to the Waikato catchments.
So what is the area of responsibility does Bay of Plenty Regional Council have?
Our Regional Council has functions that range from river management, flood management, through to bus services, public buses, and a lot of what we would call the major planning functions over transport, or if you like, policies that affect people for the whole of the region. We also have a core function which is resource management, which is the one that we're usually best known for.
Okay, so how does Bay of Plenty Regional Council work with local government like Rotorua District Council and national government?
Differently in each case. With local government, they're our brothers in arms in a way, but at the same time you shouldn't ever have a situation where the gamekeeper is the same as the poacher, and not to say that the territorial authorities are district councils are poachers, but we're like the gamekeeper. So if a district council has a wastewater treatment plant, we set the conditions by which that wastewater treatment plant will operate. We monitor, we inspect, we investigate, and if need be we'll have a discussion with them about improving its performance or congratulating them when it's doing really well. Likewise with their rubbish dumps, with their road construction, and so there's a good working relationship. But we have that role, particularly in resource management, where we are Big Brother.
So the Regional Council sets policy that the District Council carries out?
Correct. Under the Resource Management Act, the Regional Policy Statement is a document that we produce. It sets the high-level big picture for the Bay in terms of resource management, and then below that the district councils produce their plans, and they cannot be inconsistent with that regional policy statement. So for instance, our regional policy statement is just coming out at the moment and has some pretty exciting, powerful new policies around cleaning up the lakes, and Rotorua District Council will have to reflect those in their district plan.
Oh, very good, because that is what I wanted to get around to, is talking about what is the Regional Council's policy on pollution in particular.
Under the Resource Management Act, it's a 20-year-old piece of legislation in New Zealand that really has stood the test of time. A lot of people might argue about it, but it's still with us and it's still working. It talks very much about sustainable use of resources. And so the overriding philosophy is that you can use resources provided you don't trash them and you leave them in a fit state for future generations. It's one of the keys. And so that, to my mind, is the driving philosophy behind resource management in New Zealand and in the Bay. Occasionally you get something that's a bit more special than that. So then you go a bit tougher, and then you might have like the iconic geothermal features. We manage geothermal features in the Bay, and you have kind of the iconic features in which you just look at them and you go, too good to even damage. And so you look to manage those to a higher standard, and perhaps the same can be said for the iconic Rotorua Lakes.
Do you think the Rotorua region or the Bay of Plenty region has a pollution issue?
I think any part of New Zealand does. When you're producing the kind of agricultural production we are, you're using natural systems, you're using the land, and that means you have a consequence. I think that anybody who lives in an urban area knows that what they do goes down the curb and down through the grate and down a drain, and that comes out in a river or a stream or a harbour. So to my mind, yes, we have an impact. Is it
a situation that's improving or getting better or getting worse?
I think bits of both. The geothermal field management, for instance, in Rotorua is probably one of the big successes. We're seeing lakes come right, which is really exciting at the moment. So we're winning on some of the lakes. We're seeing some of our streams go backwards, and I'm a bit worried about...
What's making it go backwards? What makes it go backwards?
Intensive land use generally. We're seeing some of our lowland streams down, particularly where they drain to places like Kohiwa Harbour and Makatu, etc. They've not got a water quality that we should be proud of, and they're probably a work in progress. Another environmental issue that I think the Bay has an issue with at the moment is Rotorua air. And when I look at what the air quality here is doing to the young and old in parts of this town, it's a real concern to me. So, good news and bad news. I don't think it'll ever be any different. You know, I would make the point that I don't think Rotorua even knew it had an air quality problem until perhaps 5 years ago. So you learn, you discover that some things are in trouble, and then you set about addressing them.